absolutely Epstein was mainly a Mossad operative. Ghislaine Maxwell, her dad, all Mossad on record.
Wow.
The media just keeps this debate going. Is it Mossad? Is it Mossad? Well, he wasn't officially Mossad. Any real operative at the highest level is an operative. There's whole films made by Joel Gilbert, which I've researched. It's well known. Obama's grandfather was the head of the CIA in Hawaii. His mother was a CIA sex operative. His real father was not in Kenya, but was the head of the Communist Party, USA, head of their major newspapers, Frank Marshall Davis.
Where do you think he was born? So Trump, in my estimation, has to just let everything out, no matter how embarrassing it is.
Yeah, I mean, he does. And I mean, look, the Democrats are trying to put me in prison. They're openly horrible people. Trump represents a lot of good constituents. I don't want Trump to fail. Extent
of the law. Why do we not, and by we I mean the Trump administration, the American people, demand that Maxwell testifies in front of Congress and that Alexander Acosta testifies in front of Congress about whatever this operation was? I think me and you have a good idea about what it was. But it's a vile operation. It destroyed the lives of children. No civilized society can exist ignoring things like this. And it also opens up many questions about a financial system that we barely understand that involves oligarchs, criminals, human traffickers, drug smugglers, and our own political class. By the way, this is why Nancy Pelosi has been so quiet about this. Let's be very honest, because she has no problem with, obviously making lots and lots of money. And lots of our politicians, I mean, Barack Obama, these $30 million homes in Martha's Vineyard or whatever they are. Why don't we demand that they testify, Alex?
Well, and, Tim, I don't do this with regular people interviewing me. I'm not kissing your ass. I was about to go, before you said Ghislaine Maxwell testify, I was about to go to this. So that's where I was going next.
Yeah.
Here's the issue with that. She's in prison for human trafficking. And you've got these lawyers connected to Epstein saying months ago, Alan Dershowitz, Trump better pardon her. And even before Elon came out and said, hey, Trump's in the list, you're never going to see it, which then has a lot more credibility now. Because of this, it doesn't mean Trump did anything wrong, but he's implicated. He's embarrassed by it. The issue with Ghislaine Maxwell is she's in prison for decades. So you can't trust somebody to testify who has already not implicated other people, but now that she's convicted in prison, maybe she'll say that I was involved. I'm being sarcastic, but my point is that pressure mounts for Ghislaine Maxwell to be released to testify before Congress. I am of the thought that full disclosure is the way to go.
Yeah.
From all my research and sources, Trump wasn't actually involved in any of this. And they're going to be able to continue to blackmail if they don't. So I think Justice Trump will heavens fall. But the thinking is, if they implicate all these big tech titans like Bill Gates, that was heavily involved in all this, and his wife left him over it and said he should have to answer those questions. I'm not saying what he did. If all these Silicon Valley people come out and things, Trump's being told this will crash the stock market, this will bring down America, this is a setup, and I'm not defending that decision, but I can logically, from a sick position, get it. I agree with you. I think the world will think we're back in business if we actually exercise all these demons, because this stuff's going all over the place as well. The EU's been caught in giant pedophile rings of government.
This is driving people insane, and I think it's justifiably so that people at the highest levels can get away with stuff like this and that it can be covered up forever. And I think a lot of people...
It's the two-tier justice system. Right. It's emblematic of everything.
Yeah, it's emblematic of everything. What I told Vance, I said, if you don't disclose everything, you're done. Nobody will support you guys. You are fully and completely part of this cover-up if everything doesn't come out. I think it paralyzes their presidency completely.
And what did Vance say?
He agrees with me. He agrees with me. It really is.
Yeah, even Mike Johnson came out a week ago and said release it.
He agrees with me. The calls are coming from inside the house. We know that Benjamin Netanyahu shows up. We then immediately see an about face, which is completely crazy, by the president of the United States. And again, I'm not a paranoid Israel hater, but their activity over the last 6 months is completely insane. They're bombing churches. They're starving people. They're shooting people that are...
They bombed Syria today. But here's the deal.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. I've studied who the main threats to U.S. Communist China, big financial interest. I'm the guy that everybody said was defending Israel. No, I was just saying they're not the most important bloc. They're varied. But yeah, absolutely. Because we've knocked out the Democrats to a great extent, because they've cut off the U.S. aid money and the deep state money, Israel, with Netanyahu, sees a power vacuum and is definitely trying a hostile takeover of the administration. So that's 100% going on.
Are you worried about these?
Damn, just like that. Plain and simple. Hostile takeover of the administration is happening because there's room for it.
Connections with Palantir, with using technology to Palantir technology to merge all of the different departments.
This is an amazing conference.
So that if you have information on you with the IRS, that's now merging with your arrest record, and if you've attended a protest and whatever the case may be. We see in the UK, people are getting sent to jail for tweets. We see all over the world, and we know, of course, the Chinese social credit score system. This feels a lot like a precursor to that. Steve Bannon has said that he thinks that these tech people are the biggest threat to the stability of the United States going forward, because they have their own agendas that they're cloaking in this MAGA movement. Do you share that view? And do you think that Trump has allowed these people to get a little too close and exercise a little too much power in the White House?
Yes, I think Palantir is a threat. And then I've been criticized by people that just want to...
So Nick Fuentes was right.
...try to make scores by being nuanced about it. Let's explain what's happening. Oracle, who's also in with Trump, which is a bigger threat than Larry Ellison's, way bigger than Palantir. Microsoft and Amazon. People think of Amazon as packages. No, Amazon runs more servers for the CIA, the NSA than anybody. Then that Microsoft is second. This is like a fact. People can look this up. They've already integrated all the databases. They already have all that. Peter Thiel and Alex Karp, who said, Alex Karp, I help the EU censor conservatives. You know, my main threat is Christian conservatives, just like talking about starting to fight. So
right.
I'm not an apologist for Palantir, but to my listeners, I've got to give them a real answer. So you notice the New York Times, the Washington Post last year were all about Palantir, and it doesn't mean Palantir isn't an issue. It's that, why does everybody know about that? Because the corporate media started it. So Palantir has come to Trump and is a big backer of Vance. I'm not saying he's bad either.
Right.
And they have said to Trump, we know how to come in and tell you what's really going on. Let us have the ring of Mordor, and we will fix all your problems. And my point is, they are a small little tech who wants to come in and has the technology to do what's already been done.
Right.
So the idea that this isn't already integrated, that it is Amazon, Google, and these other groups, Amazon,
Alphabet, those companies, whatever it is, Meta.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, Alphabet's above Google, exactly.
Right.
So it's Google, it's
Amazon.
It's Amazon. It's all. Yeah. So they're the ones that are currently doing it. It's not like it's coming. So I just told people in their lexicon, it's like you have flashcards for a kid. Here's a tiger. Here's a bear. Here's a bunny rabbit. And now they go, here's Palantir. Ooh, that's the big tech takeover. No, that's a group that thought with their angles with Trump, they could come in and be put in charge of the thing that's already there. So I'm telling people, no, it's not that it's coming. It's already there. Palantir is just as dangerous as Google or as its parent company, Alphabet, or as Microsoft, or as Amazon. It's Microsoft, Google, Amazon. And I'm saying if you look at the statistics, they're 90% of it. The grid's already there. Palantir is a usurper, an upstart, a pretender to the throne, trying to come in to give Trump control because the U.S. government's been directing the Googles and the Microsofts and the Amazons to already create a fuse system that we already have. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. The reason that Palantir is always a red flag for me is that when Peter Thiel's asked things like, should the human race exist? And he kind of stutters and stammers and doesn't really seem to have that one seems easy. And he doesn't really have an answer for that. He's also suggested things like maybe people went to Epstein's Island because they wanted Epstein's like advice on their divorce and stuff. Huh? It just
and he also says, you know, we need to do what I'm doing to stop the Antichrist.
Right. So it just feels to me that yes, they are part of a very large group of companies I don't trust. But it is worth noting that this company is, you know, they want to start helping to surveil Americans more than they already are. I mean, that's sort of, or help, you know, concentrate the information or help merge.
Let's be clear. Oh, you hit a key point. You hit a key point. Google 6-7 years ago wouldn't even give the Pentagon access to AI, but they give China that. So that's the key you just hit. Palantir is offering to Trump. Look at Denver, already has U.S. funded license plate scanners.
Right.
But a month ago, when they were going to use them to arrest illegals, they turned it off.
Yeah.
Okay. So Palantir is offering to use the grid that's already in place for Trump's aims. So what I'm trying to say is it's not a defense of Palantir. It's that we're saying we're in the year 2025. Yeah. We're in the year 2050. I'm saying it's already there. The Palantir thing is a fight about Trump coming and saying, okay, I'll hire you to explain how this works and give me access. I'm saying it's already all there.
No, and I understand that. And I think that I don't trust Elon Musk. I don't trust anything. I don't trust Sam Altman. I don't trust Mark Zuckerberg. It's not because I believe they're inherently evil people, or although they say some things that are inherently evil. I believe their agendas are radically different than if you took an American off the street and said, what are the things you value? Very few of them are going to go, we want to terraform Mars and merge with AI and destroy the human race and all of this stuff. So I do think that the tech community, it's important to have a thriving tech community, but it's important to not turn our country into a digital police state or a Chinese-style surveillance state. And I think a lot of those people would probably want to create something like that in our society. You know, that does seem like they would prefer that.
Absolutely. I want your viewers and listeners to understand something. Let's just say Palantir is the most evil thing on earth ever seen. It is the devil. Why do we all know about Palantir
and not the other
ones? We don't know.
Yes, you're right.
We don't know about Microsoft, Google, and Amazon that are 90+% of the grid that's already there.
Right.
So we're all learning about surveillance and AI and social credit score and biometrics and social credit. We're already doing it. They're just bidding to get into the trough.
Understood.
As a junior. And so I oppose what Palantir's doing.
And everyone else.
I oppose everyone else.
Of course.
I'm just saying it's become a distraction into only them.
Great point. This is not a defense of Palantir, but they're not the biggest source of fear that we have in the U.S. government, or to infiltrate the U.S. government. There's already systems in place like the Amazon system, Microsoft systems, Apple's systems in place that are direct corporate. Basically, this is fascist rule. Corporatism directly controlled by governments.
Good. Disclosure.
And that basically this is not singling out only to Palantir. This is fascism is coming to America. This is what this is signaling.
Sure. Your sources, people that you know.
Or fascism is already here, actually.
How damaging is this if this all comes out? Do we think that this is a watershed moment for the United States and, Israel? Does this come out that this is what many people feel it is, which is a Mossad CIA blackmail up? Or is this basically we're never going to definitively know that? Or will we, we have a lot of conjecture. We have a gun to my head. That's what I believe it was. There's enough evidence in my book to say that's what it was. But is the disclosure, not only will it be embarrassing to people, but is it going to suggest that one of our allies has been using these types of methods to gain leverage and control over our politicians? And is that one of the big reasons that they do not want it out?
Well, that's all true. I mean, look. Monica Lewinsky was a Mossad operative.
Really?
Damn.
Yeah, it's come out.
I didn't know.
Wow.
They were tapping the White House. So, and they don't want to hit us on some big corruption deal because a bunch of Israeli operatives are involved in all the corruption with our people as well.
Right.
They want to hit you on some limited little sexual thing. And so, yeah, no, I mean, absolutely, Epstein was mainly a Mossad operative. Ghislaine Maxwell, her dad, all Mossad on record.
Wow.
The media just keeps this debate going, is it Mossad? Is it Mossad? Well, he wasn't officially Mossad. Any real operative at the highest level is an operative. People think it was an operative at lower level. No, a lot of times they're the boss. But he himself was just a manager. Ghislaine was the case manager. This has all basically come out. And this is the leverage that Israel is using over Trump right now to do all this. And my information is it's not Trump himself. He's just all this other stuff to try to embarrass him, beauty pageants, flying twice on his plane from New York to Palm Beach. And again, Trump was all release it till he got that meeting with Netanyahu that you nailed. But what's more important is this has captured the public's understanding and imagination. And so it's all about integrity. It's all about getting rid of the deep state and Trump joining with it and defending it. I had on my show today, Mark Mitchell, who is the hands down, they have the best record nailing elections, not distributed around the world from Rasmussen polling. And, he said, I'm not a Republican or Democrat, but I care about the voters and freedom in the future. And he said, the exact number is like 14 points lost with independents.
It's a collapse.
5, 6.
It's a collapse.
It's a collapse. 5, 6 points lost is the most hardcore base. This is a disaster. As Steve Bannon, without seeing polls a week and a half ago, said we'll lose 40 seats.
It's overshadowing another interesting and important story. That's that Comey, Brennan, Clapper, all these guys essentially participated in what was kind of an attempted coup.
Wow.
I
can't believe Tim Dillon's bringing this up.
Manufacturing this evidence that Trump was installed by Russia.
Yeah, Crossfire Hurricane. And that's the key. That was my whole show today was Crossfire Hurricane is proven. Crossfire Hurricane is confirmed that not just Obama giving orders to Clapper, Brennan, Comey. Before 2016, they knew Trump was running. They put him under surveillance. The documents are out. They created the Steele dossier. They didn't just let the intelligence out and then not report it was fake. They created it. As Tulsi Gabbard said last night on Fox, we already have the documents. That's true.
Do you think Obama is a CIA operative from birth? His mother worked for USAID. His mother was born in Hawaii.
Now we're going into conspiracy.
I mean, because Obama weirdly comes up all the time as this guy. And I always think these politicians are middlemen. And I imagine that Barack Obama would be like a similar politician, like a Clinton type, where like they know what's going on, but they're not driving it. Yeah.
Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton come out of the CIA and the Dixie Mafia and the Chicago Mafia. There's whole films made by Joel Gilbert, which I've researched. It's well known. Obama's grandfather was the head of the CIA in Hawaii. His mother was a CIA sex operative. His real father was not in Kenya, but was the head of the Communist Party, USA, head of their major newspapers, Frank Marshall Davis.
Where do you think he was born, if you had to take a guess?
He was born in Hawaii.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, it was Obama in 4 different videos when he was a senator saying, I was born in Kenya. I'm back in my home country as a fake cover story. And then that guy, that sub-Saharan Africa that looked nothing like him, you look at Frank Marshall Davis, it's him. And he wrote in Dreams of My Fathers, I spent summers with Frank Marshall Davis in Hawaii. He was friends with my grandfather. He felt like my real father. And it's Frank Marshall Davis. Then his mother, in Betty Davis, not Betty Davis, God, what's that woman with the dark hair?
None of this I can substantiate. I can't substantiate any of this. I can't find any reports. Not to say that this is necessarily wrong, what he's saying, but I cannot substantiate this as facts. I can see that his mother was receiving a lot of funding to study a lot of, private entity funding, Ford Foundation funding to study anthropology and Indonesian studies or something like that. So she was getting grants, she was getting private funding. I don't know how much federal funding she was getting as well, but seems like she was linked to studying lands in Indonesia and reporting back her findings. So she would be probably one of the best candidates for a CIA operative to be enlisted, maybe. She was getting paid by the Ford Foundation. She was getting grants to study, what does it say here? Economic anthropologist, and for 30 years she devoted herself to studying rural enterprise in Indonesia, and she received that funding from Ford Foundation. There's a lot of information about this, but I don't know. I can't substantiate she was an operative, but she was, traveling the world, getting private and potentially federal funds and grants and reporting back all her findings. So, I mean, she would be the best candidate for something like this.
The famous bombshell 50s
Rita
pinup girl.
Hayworth?
No, it's the one that did soft porn. It'll pop in my head in a minute.
Okay.
The point is they did that style, and in the famous porn that Frank Marshall Davis released, in the same house that's in photos of Obama with the same couch, with the same pictures, with his mom and Frank Marshall Davis visiting Frank Marshall Davis, it's her with women on the very same, Betty Page. It's the very same couch, and it's in famous private porn collections that his mother was, in all of this, well, she was a famous CIA sex operative.
So you're saying that Obama is from an intelligence family?
Well, you said
I can see that she was getting private funding and reporting back all her findings about Indonesia for 30 years long.
CIA baby. I mean,
but that's what I feel as well. I mean,
and then Frank Marshall Davis, the main publisher of communist newspapers all over the U.S., is a famous pornographer.
Right.
Obama says in Dreams of My Father's, he was like my father. I stayed with him in the summers. He was friends with my grandfather, and his dad's the famous CIA banker.
Well, I know people in Chicago that have said that Obama essentially had led kind of a secret double life his entire life, and they were shocked when he was polling so well in the election. Obviously, he was a brilliant politician, but that the media didn't go near any of his secret life the way they didn't go. There's a lot of people that obviously the media is told to stand down, but I know people in Chicago, these large financial institutions that knew him, that were shocked that more details about his private life weren't emerging.
Well, yeah, and he says every young boy needs a gay man to help lead him now. And I'm not against gay people or anything, but it's well known how he's being controlled. And so you very astutely said a baby of the CIA. He is literally a Manchurian candidate.
People with secrets are seemingly the people that always lead us. It seems to be if you're in the closet, if you have a problem with your drugs or money or something like that, leverage is always being used on different people to control them.
Because you're compromised.
1,000%. So Trump, in my estimation, has to just let everything out, no matter how embarrassing it is.
Yeah, I mean, he does. And I mean, look, the Democrats are trying to put me in prison. They're openly horrible people. Trump represents a lot of good constituents. I don't want Trump to fail. I got accused by a lot of influencers and people in the last few weeks because I'm on every channel, and it does nothing for me to be on CNN, ABC News. I care less. They have tiny audiences. I don't like to have to come tell the truth on air and have them spin it and use it against Trump and MAGA, because MAGA is great overall and is definitely a force for good. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard and Tom Homan, and I mean, they're doing amazing things. And so I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't do this because I can attack Trump, which I never do, and then, get publicity out of it. I did it because I have to keep my integrity. And I don't know if Trump can course correct from this. I had the head of Rasmussen polling on today. Some of it's bounced back. But, you look at bombing Iran, you look at Israel, You look at Kennedy got it where they were going to take fluoride out of the water. The DOJ blocked the lawsuit that banned it to keep fluoride in the water. Kennedy blocked basically glyphosate. The Trump administration's keeping it. It's almost like the Trump admin brought in Kennedy so he can menace the chemical companies and Big Pharma, and then Big Pharma will just come make bigger donations. And I don't know.
I'm gonna say something very interesting.
Interesting.
I think obviously poisoned food in America needs to be dealt with, but Kennedy was talking a lot about these vaccines that were mandated and had a lot of adverse effects. Pam Bondi is now not following up the Pfizer thing. You know, maybe know more about than I do, but I saw that briefly.
Her and the White House chief of staff run now, only 10 years ago didn't exist, the biggest consulting firm, and their main client's Pfizer.
So Pam Bondi and Susie Wiles, who's the White House chief of staff, run a consulting firm, and their biggest client is Pfizer. Well, that's not great.
And even today, the lawyers came out, all the people involved, even in Congress, and said that Kennedy's not even being consulted now. So people get pissed at Kennedy. He's like, yeah, we're banning that mRNA shot. And then the White House somehow overrides it. And I'm not, it's Pam
I think
Bondi
Kennedy,
from
people that I know, I think Kennedy feels like he's frustrated. I also think, yes, get the poison food out. But also, Kennedy was coming in there saying, listen, we had these mandatory vaccines. A lot of them had adverse health effects. And now that's not being talked about. Everything's about food dye. Now, by the way, get the food dye out, sure, but let's not indemnify companies like Pfizer and all these people going forward. I mean, big pharma's it's the biggest.
Well, that's I mean, the big HHS, Dr. Robert Malone, inventor of mRNA that violently exposed it all. He came out today and said, "No, I've seen the documents. The FDA and all of it authorized these new mRNAs. They literally didn't even consult Kennedy." And so I'm not giving Kennedy a pass. I mean, this is going on. So it's a big, giant operation. Susie Wiles gave him the organizational skills that Trump needed to win. So it's the devil you need, the devil you don't need. But who was she the chief of staff for in his last election? Where does she live part of the year? She works for Benjamin Netanyahu.
Susie?
Wow. So the chief of staff of Trump works for Benjamin Netanyahu?
She works for Netanyahu.
She was his chief of staff and his campaign manager.
Interesting. I did not know that. That keeps coming up.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen,
yeah.
I'm not anti-Israel.
No. And listen, we don't even have to keep saying that. We're not anti-Israel.
For it. I have responsibility.
You do.
Like a jack in the box at Netanyahu. Jack in the box Netanyahu. Remember Netanyahu back during the COVID thing said, I want Israel to be the headquarters of human testing. We don't know what this is going to do. We offer the Israeli people to be guinea pigs to be tested on. Well, that violates the Nuremberg Code. So I'm not anti-Israel.
Crazy.
I'm saying,
of course,
you pull it up. Netanyahu says Israel's a guiney pig. And I think Netanyahu's a villain.
I have great friends in Israel and in America that are Jewish people that are religious. Some aren't, and they a lot of them think what's going on in Gaza is atrocious, and that Netanyahu's a criminal and should stand trial. But it is interesting to see that this administration is starting to spin out of control.